Hello again with another iPad only book video. This is Michael Sliwinski.
And this is Augusto Pinaud talking about things we thought were impossible to do when we first got the iPad in 2010.
Yeah, so we thought, when we got the iPads first, we thought about that there are just media consumption devices, right? So you can only, consume content, read and everything, and you really cannot create stuff on the iPad, and it's just too slow, too clunky, and whatever. So when I got my iPad, and actually you told me that there was an application, tap typing, so you can learn to type faster on the on screen. And I'm a medium fast typer, but I taught myself to type faster on the screen of the iPad. And then I discovered that I can actually process email faster on the iPad than on the Mac. Email app is very focused. It's just the big screen. The screen is there, and the idea of touching the email is very natural. Really, it's very easy to select emails, to process them, to move them. And when I reply, I tap the response on the screen, and that is very fast. Also because I learned how to touch type on the on-screen of the iPad, but also another thing, I learned to type fewer sentences, to just type shorter emails, because I discovered that people actually care about a quick response instead of a longer response, but 2 weeks later. So it's just better to just respond right away. And this is why I discovered on the iPad, I thought it would be just too much of a hassle to process email. And now I see it's faster on the iPad than on the Mac.
Yeah, as you mentioned, tap typing was an application that really changed a lot about the iPad for me. The typing was the biggest bottleneck that I had on the iPad. I'm a decent typist, and typing 18, 20 words per minute, it was just too slow, and it was driving me nuts. Yeah, basically it was exactly like that. So I was even considering get rid of the iPad when I discovered tap typing, and I'm now can type 60 to 65 words per minute on the screen, and I can even go into the iPad Mini and type 45 words per minute. On the iPad Mini, it's continuing to slow for me, but it's getting there. I'm practicing constantly now to get to that speed. When I'm a writer, I have managed accounts all over the States and Latin America. And when I got the iPad, I didn't know it was going to be possible to make that my main machine, so I could go to meetings and carry the information and carry all the spreadsheets I need and the graphs and all that. And that's exactly what happened. I stopped carrying laptops and all that and just getting to the meetings with an iPad. And later on, I discovered that not only that, but I could do the writing. And originally my goal was to write only on the iPad and then go to the Mac and edit in everything. And to my surprise, I discovered that I can do track changes, send it to the editor, coming back, work on those changes, send it back. And the same thing with the covers. When the graphic designer send me the cover, I can take a screenshot or download the image, make all the annotations I want directly on the screen with my own pen, and what I like, what I don't like, send that picture back. And I can do all that basically touching. I can do all that much easier, much simpler. On the Mac, it was possible. Of course it was possible, but try to handwrite a note saying, I like this title a little bit more to the right with a Mac. It's a challenging work, for not to say impossible, without the right tools. On the iPad, I can do it everywhere. I have 5 minutes and I just can do that. And that has been really, really incredible for me. But I know you have done more than that with your iPad. So.
Yeah, but what you said is it's really on the Mac you would have to open the whole Photoshop app to just send a small feedback. While on the iPad you can just use a very simple app, just annotate and just send it back, and then that's it. So this is what really simplified it. And also for for coders, we are building software now. Nozbe is a piece of software, actually quite complicated one to build. And the thing is that I'm not coding anymore that much as I used to. But, as a typical coder, I used to have everything on my MacBook Air, the web server, MySQL, everything on my MacBook Air. And then also I would code there. And then when I moved to the iPad, I discovered that it was actually stupid of me, especially being the CEO of the company, to actually manage my own web server on my MacBook Air and make sure that it works and whatever. What I did is I just set up my iPad as the coding machine, so I could just type code, send it to our servers, administered by our CTO, and then the code would go to the Git and then all these other things, just to make sure that it went to the production and went to the feedback loop. But anyway, it was just amazing that I thought, how can I configure this server on the iPad? And I was like, no, you don't configure a server on the iPad. It's stupid. And then you configure the server on the server, right? So it simplified it a lot for me.
And that's one of the most incredible things the iPad has done, actually, for me too, is that simplification, is make everything simpler, lighter, faster in a certain way. But let's hold that thought and let's continue and talk into the next video about more simplification. But for now, this is how we're going to stop. And this is, again, the iPad Only book. Thank you very much.
Thank you.